Hello, Brave to Be Me members. How are you guys doing? Or bravers, as I like to call you. I hope that you are well. So today is Appreciation Day in our group, so I thought I would come on and talk to you about some of the myths surrounding appreciation. Oh, hey, Bronwyn. Up and down, but interesting. Yeah, that whole up and down thing, it's crazy. I was talking to a client this morning and we were saying about how, life feels like it does this, and we're like, if it could just do that, that would be better. So it's not such extremes. Obviously life will go up and down, that's normal, but yeah. Oh, and Pam, hi. Cool, nice to have both of you with me. Yes, let's talk about some of the myths surrounding appreciation. So I have some notes next to me, so if I keep looking that way, that's what I'm doing. Firstly, what does it mean to show appreciation? So appreciation basically means recognizing someone or yourself for something, okay? And there's two different types of appreciation. So some appreciation is conditional. In other words, it's based on you doing something, or somebody else doing something. So yeah, it's conditional on behavior. The other type of appreciation is unconditional. So that's more appreciation for being a certain way. So like your personality or your presence, that type of thing. So let me know, what type of appreciation do you like to, or do you notice yourself giving the most? Do you think that you more praise people for doing things like, oh, good job, that was, thanks for making me tea, or that report was excellent, or beautiful knitting, or embroidery, do you appreciate people for doing stuff? How often do you show appreciation to someone because of who they are? Like, wow, that was really kind, or oh, you're so brave, or even today I was having another call with someone, and she was talking about how she'd actually implemented the work that she was meant to do on an online course, and I gave her appreciation. I mean, recognition would probably be the better word, but I appreciated her for actually doing the work. Okay, so I guess that is conditional on her behavior. But I said to her, it's quite something to put stuff into practice, so well done for doing that. Okay, that was conditional. It's harder to think of unconditional appreciation examples, I must say. But I definitely gave her one. What was it? Because it's still in my head. I was like, oh, I'm talking about appreciation. I just gave her an unconditional appreciation. It was for, I think she was being brave with something. I praised her for that. Try balance of both, and the for who they are is most critical. Yeah, exactly. I agree. So trying to offer people appreciation that is both conditional and unconditional is a really cool thing to do, because most of us want to be appreciated for who we are. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. But that's often the hardest one to give. I mean, even now I was struggling to find examples, like that's the hardest one to give a lot of the time, but it's the thing that we actually crave the most. And interestingly, a lot of us are brought up not receiving that type of appreciation, which means that when someone gives it to us as an adult, we block it. We actually don't accept it. We feel awkward being praised for who we are. Like if I came up to you right now and I was like, you are such a kind person, like how does that feel? Do you feel uncomfortable, or do you be like, yeah, I am a kind person? A lot of people would feel quite awkward getting that type of praise. Whereas if I had to come up to you and go, I like the way you've done your hair today, you might feel a little more comfortable like that, like, oh yeah, I did do something cool, So yeah, it is important to give both, but not everybody's able to accept both. So that's something that you can definitely become aware of and then do some work on. So let's talk about some of the myths, right? First myth around appreciation is don't give appreciation. I don't know why, but we have this thing in our head that if we praise someone, if we appreciate them for something, they might stop doing it. And it's the craziest fear, because what you focus on grows. So particularly, like if you think about in a work example, How often would your manager come to you and praise you and show appreciation for the job that you're doing? You know, perhaps a cursory like good job every now and then, but how often would they actually come to you and give you that appreciation? Okay? Now, why don't they do that? So, like, sometimes we just have this thing in our head that you can't give people appreciation. They're either going to stop doing the thing that you're praising them for, or they might get a big head about it, you know? It's crazy. Like, everybody loves to be recognized. It's one of our basic human needs is recognition. So recognizing someone will always be a good thing. Whether they can take that on or not, you know, depends on their history, and their story around appreciation. But offering it out will never be a bad thing. So absolutely don't buy into that myth. You know, when it comes to not giving appreciation, you absolutely can. I'm giving you permission. The next one is don't ask for appreciation. So have you ever actually said to someone, you know, I need to be recognized right now? Or did you like that? Or, you know, like basically sought out appreciation. Like we have this story in our heads that we can't ask for appreciation because that makes us a bit arrogant or like attention seeking or needy or insecure. But I mean, the other person's not a mind reader, so they don't know that you might, you know, need that positive recognition. So absolutely ask for appreciation if you feel like you want some or if you're not getting it. Because remember, the other person might be buying into that first myth of don't give appreciation. So they're not giving it to you, but you actually might really want it. So ask for it, you know? That's how you open up communication between people, is asking for what you want. Which I know is a scary thing to do because it puts you out there and that can be vulnerable. But if you want it, you got to ask for it. People are not mind readers. There's no shame in asking for it. The next one is don't accept appreciation. How often do you find somebody tries to give you a compliment and you brush it off? You know, they'll be like, oh, nice dress. And you say, oh, this old thing, you know, oh, it's so old. Like, take the compliment. If somebody has chosen to expend their energy appreciating you, be graceful and say thank you. And this is challenging. It's really challenging. And it's something that you can consciously work with. So you can... sorry, I'm getting distracted by notifications coming up on my phone. This is something you can consciously work with. So, like for the next week, if anybody says anything positive to you about you, whether it's for something that you've done or for who you are, simply accept it. Simply say thank you and move on. And see how that feels to you. It might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but absolutely challenge yourself to do it, because it's like we've all got this bucket that you need to fill up with appreciation. And if you're giving it all the time, your bucket's getting lower and lower and lower. Like, we need to receive it as well. So if somebody's giving it to you, put it in the bucket. Feel good. It's okay. You won't be arrogant for doing it, okay? Just putting that out there. Sorry, I'm just moving down so I can see my next one. My next one is don't reject appreciation. Yes, don't reject appreciation. We think that we can't, is what I'm saying. So as a woman, if the only appreciation I ever get from my male colleagues is how I look, for example, I'm going to feel uncomfortable with that because I'm so much more than my looks. And also, that's not what I'm there to be doing. Like, I don't want to be recognized for my looks. I want to be recognized for my mind and my contribution and the work that I'm doing. So it is absolutely okay to reject appreciation if it feels uncomfortable to you. And that's basically just putting down boundaries. But for some reason, we believe that we can't do that. And you absolutely can. I mean, does anyone have an example of a type of appreciation that you don't want to receive, but you feel like you can't, you know, turn away? It's an interesting one. Very much an interesting one. And then the last one, the last myth around appreciation is don't give it to yourself. So we think that if we praise ourselves, or appreciate ourselves or recognize ourselves, that means we're arrogant and big-headed, and absolutely not true. That's why on a Friday I do the appreciation post where I say, what can you high-five yourself for this week? Because when you recognize yourself, you feel good. And more than that, you teach others to recognize themselves, which is a great thing to do. And you also teach them to recognize you. So remember that at all times you are modeling to other people how you want them to behave, because people treat you the way you treat yourself. So if you can show appreciation for yourself, you're sending that vibe out to other people, and they're going to appreciate you too. And they're also going to see that it's okay to appreciate yourself. It's actually a really good thing. On the one hand, on the other hand, you'll also feel really good about yourself. And, most of us have some kind of story about not being good enough in some way. So if you can start recognizing the things that you do that you can feel really proud of, that fosters that positive relationship with yourself, and it grows your self-acceptance. So give yourself the thing that you most need. If you want recognition from other people, give it to yourself. Basically cultivate a good feeling with yourself. I hope that makes sense. Question. Looks are part of the genetic package. You can't change those. For many years, I was judged as a blonde, attractive woman and almost patted on the head. Given this was a work scenario, I wanted to be acknowledged for my ability that I had worked hard on developing. Exactly. Bronwyn gets it. You see, like so often that will happen as a woman, and probably also as a man as well. I mean, I don't know because I'm not a man, but I would assume that good-looking men would, experience this as well. But certainly women do. They get objectified, they get judged based on their appearance. And not even just like physical looks, it might be the way that they dress or that kind of thing. And if that's the only type of appreciation you're getting, we are whole beings. There's so much more to us than just our appearances. So you want to be appreciated for other parts of you. And that can start young. Think about small children. How often do you go up to a little girl, a cousin or a friend's child or whatever, and say, oh, you look so pretty in your dress, or you look so pretty, or I like your t-shirt, or, we praise them for their appearance. But these little girls are so much more than that. And boys too, but I'm speaking, as a woman. But yeah, you can challenge yourself to show up differently in that way. You can challenge yourself to recognize children, in particular, for different things. And you can also challenge someone who only appreciates you in that way and say, well, I'm actually more than my appearance, so I hope there's something else that you're happy about here, like the work that I'm doing. You don't have to take it, and you don't have to be sarcastic either. Or you can, whatever floats your boat. But you don't have to just take that. You can challenge people on it and teach them, I am much more than just my appearance. And also, it can be creepy. It can feel really uncomfortable. You're like, stop looking at my outfit. Ooh. No, we don't tolerate creepiness. And for the longest time, women didn't think that they could reject that type of thing and do it, reject it. Change the paradigm. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you that I haven't. And if there's any questions, please do shout in the comments. So it was to, So the last thing I wanted to say on it, in particular around showing appreciation for yourself, is recognize your strengths, shout about them, praise yourself for them, feel really good about them. And also, when it comes to your shortcomings, accept them. Accept yourself in your entirety, because so often we reject the things that we think are wrong with us. And 9 times out of 10, there's nothing wrong with you. 10 times out of 10, there's nothing wrong with you. Whatever you are doing or being that doesn't fit comfortably for you, challenge yourself to show up differently, but don't reject those parts of you. They're part of you. And the reason that they're there is because of all the experiences you've had in your life that taught you to be that way, and to show up that way. So It's a culmination of your life experience. And if you don't like it, you can change it, but that doesn't mean that you have to disown it. It's part of you. It's like your shadow side, you know? So practicing radical acceptance and appreciation for yourself. Like, if you fly off the handle and lose your temper and that feels bad to you, don't feel shame around that. Recognize it and say, I can see that I was triggered there emotionally, and I really appreciate myself for having that awareness, for knowing what was happening there. Like, understand it, seek to understand all the time. And it will be so much more meaningful and helpful to you than just rejecting that and feeling shame and shutting down. So show yourself appreciation. Yeah. Cool. I appreciate you guys so much, just putting that out there. Yeah, so use the Friday post. I mix it up every now and then. Like, I think it was last week or the week before, I said show some appreciation for someone in the group. You know, anyone at all, or just in general, because it's nice to give appreciation, but it is also nice to give it to yourself. So use the post on a Friday, high five yourself for something that happened during the week. And remember, that's a conditional appreciation. That's for doing something. You can also appreciate yourself unconditionally. So for the way that you are, for how you show up. So I'm throwing out the challenge. Do that on a Friday. Make it a habit, a weekly habit, so that you can end your week on a positive, you know, feeling really good about yourself. It will foster more self-confidence, a better relationship with yourself. So please do that, okay? Which will have a knock-on effect on your relationships as well. And remember the other appreciation myths as well, you know? Give appreciation to other people. Ask for it when you need it. Reject it if it doesn't feel comfortable. And what was the other one? I'm forgetting now. Accept it. If somebody shows you appreciation, accept it and say thank you and move on. Really challenge yourself the next week to just say thank you and leave it at that. Okay? And if you need anything else, let me know. I'll see you later for Good Night Gratitude. And by the way, gratitude and appreciation are very similar things. So ending off your day with a Good Night Gratitude is also a really nice way to end the day. It's like looking back on your day and just saying, like, there's one thing that was good today that I can show some appreciation, I can show some gratitude for. So yeah, try get into that daily habit too. And remember, like, start small. You don't have to journal pages of things to be grateful for. I mean, if you want to, do. It's powerful practice. But if you're not in the habit of doing that, start small and come check in each evening on our Good Night Gratitude post. It's the simplest, most easiest way. And if you don't get the notifications, you can change your notification settings in the group. So I'm not sure where it is exactly. I think it's under settings and notifications. Snoop around, you'll find it at the top where all the different tabs are. And you can change your notification setting to all notifications instead of highlights. So highlights is like if everybody comments and likes, then it'll show it to you. Or if someone you're friends with on Facebook does that, then they'll show it to you. Facebook will show it to you. But if you change that notification setting to all, then every time I post something, it'll come up and you'll get a notification about it. So yeah, do that if you like. Cool. Thank you. Have a good weekend. I will chat to you again soon, and I'm sending you love. Bye, guys.